My name is Andriyka. I'd like to give you a brief description of my ties to Oseredok and the Ukrainian community. I'm a second-generation Ukrainian Canadian. My babcia and Yido immigrated to Canada after the war. Eventually, my grandfather continued his education and became a social worker. They raised 5 children in a Ukrainian-speaking household within the Ukrainian Canadian community. I spoke Ukrainian as a child. Some of my first words were Ukrainian. I was a member of PLAST, the Ukrainian Scouting Organization, until after high school. In 2015, I worked at the Oseredok boutique and now work as an archival technician. In recent years, I've traveled to Ukraine to attend a language school and visit family. I was also briefly in Ukraine teaching English through a volunteer program. Even though I was born in Canada, I feel a strong connection to Ukraine, our traditions, and language.
Hello, my name is Valeriya. My family and I moved to Canada in November of 2013. I was 12 years old. It was a hard transition as Ukraine was going through very difficult times and it felt wrong leaving my grandparents. However, I'm still very thankful for all the sacrifices that my parents have made for me and my brothers in order for us to have a better and more stable future. Despite the difficult transition, Canada has become my second home. However, I often miss Ukraine. I'm very proud of where I come from. I'm in love with Ukrainian culture, Ukrainian language, and Ukrainian traditions. I often find myself drawn to jobs that are related to Ukrainian heritage. In the past, I have worked at Ukrainian Museum of Canada Manitoba branch, located in Holy Trinity Ukrainian Orthodox Cathedral. As well as last summer, I was hired by Ukrainian Canadian Congress as a summer student. This fall, I was very fortunate to get a job as an archival technician here in Oseredok. This position has introduced me to the work the Ukrainian community has done in the past more closely, and to many interesting historical facts and events that I previously did not know about.
Today, we're presenting Oseredok's newly cataloged poster collection. We'd like to provide you with some information about the cataloging process, as well as show off some of our favorite posters. We began work in November and haven't stopped. The number of posters held at Oseredok is enormous. Our task was to sort, record, and store upwards of 3,000 posters. We are very happy with the outcome and hope that it benefits the community. During our first few days, we decided upon the categories or series that we would need to include. We decided to create the following series: Oseredok, politics, cultural life, performing arts, religion, education, sports, and commerce, as well as series for Koshitz, Levchuk, and Avramenko. These series are further divided into sub-series to assist staff in locating individual posters. Once we'd created an outline for our organizational system, we began sorting the posters. Although time-consuming, this is where we got our first look at some of the incredible poster designs and the information. We saw posters of events in DP camps, information about bilingual schooling, and community events and festivals.
The DP camp posters were especially impressive. It's important to document history, especially during difficult times. Bringing these posters to Canada and being able to access them today speaks to the community's dedication to never forgetting the events of the past. While sorting, we kept finding more and more posters to catalog. We began describing posters while looking for the date of printing, the donor, and the relevant information. It has been a challenging process, but I think we've created a useful catalog for researchers and for those seeking information. The catalog and the index has already been helpful to scholars and artists. We've assisted with finding posters for a book and for an installation soon to be displayed at Oseredok. We'd love for you to stay tuned as we show off some of our finds.
This is a poster for an annual event held at the Vigerville Pisanka. The Vigerville Pisanka is 31 feet high. It was designed by Paul Maxim Sembyuk and was the first physical structure designed completely with computer-aided geometric modeling software. There are 5 symbols and 3 colors in the design. They represent life, good fortune, and prosperity. In Canada, you can find many public displays of pisanka and Ukrainian culture. A more recent example is the pisanka coin, minted in Winnipeg. You could also try making a pisanka this year. It requires only dye, a candle, wax, and a kistka, a wooden stick with a metal nib used to draw on the egg. Although the material is simple, drawing a straight line on a curved surface takes some skill, but Easter is a great time to give it a try. Easter is an exciting celebration for Ukrainians. I'm looking forward to the food at this celebration, as well as baking a paska, a traditional Easter bread.
This poster is from the times of the Nazi regime. It is written in Ukrainian language. It speaks to Ukrainian peasants who lived in villages and were mainly farmers. It talks about the new land order and how the land and/or the livestock should be divided, and many other rules about the things that were allowed and were not allowed to do. It informs the Ukrainian peasants about the cancellation of the Soviet rules that were enforced previously. At the beginning, the poster mentions that Bolsheviks treated Ukrainian workers poorly, and those who did not obey were sent to be tortured, exiled, or even murdered. Bolsheviks were a radical Marxist party founded by Vladimir Lenin and Alexander Bogdanov, formed in 1912. It also says that the Bolsheviks were Jews from Moscow, which highlights the Nazis' discriminatory attitude towards Jewish people. It accentuates that the German state saved the Ukrainians from the awful Bolsheviks' oppression and likely death. It says that the German state wants to help Ukrainians, and as evidence of that, they are ready to cancel the previous rules under a condition the Ukrainians work hard. If they work hard, fruits of their labor will gradually get passed on to them. Some of the new rules included working as a group and cultivating the land without any exemptions. The land in people's yards becomes private property of the homeowner and becomes free of taxes. However, it should be used intensively for gardening, orcharding, and planting crops that have to feed the livestock. To conclude, the Nazis that came to Ukraine fought off the Bolsheviks and said that they wanted to give Ukrainians their land back. But first, Ukrainians had to prove to them that they are hard workers and listen to the Nazi rules in order for them to get their own land back. These are the posters of Nicholas Levchuk. In the late 19th and early 20th century, theater played an important role in both Ukraine and among the first Ukrainian communities in Canada. Between 1900s and 1940s, Ukrainian drama groups staged thousands of performances across Canada. Groups would often travel in the neighboring communities. Traveling performances also inspired vaudeville acts such as those of Nicholas Levchuk, 1896-1989, who came to Canada at the age of 6 and decided to be a performer after he saw a vaudeville show in Saskatchewan in 1910. Using the stage name Professor N.P. Levchuk, he delighted audiences for decades with magic, escape artistry, and comedy shows. In the 1940s, he added the Midway rides and Freaks of Nature to his shows. For his vaudeville shows, Levchuk has traveled with his wife Nellie, also known as Anastasia, to Saskatchewan and Manitoba, where together they performed various magic and illusion tricks. In addition, Nicholas Levchuk also did lots of work for the Ukrainian community. For example, in 1980, he built a 25-foot statue of a woman in Ukrainian costume in Kenora, Saskatchewan, presenting the traditional bread and salt as a welcoming gift and a symbol of hospitality. The statue became an attraction for many visitors of Kenora. Nicholas Levchuk did not limit himself to only magic and vaudeville shows. In addition to his role in the Ukrainian community, in between his magic shows, he also became a founder of the New Era and New Era products. Some of the things the New Era printed were Ukrainian Christmas postcards. One of my favorite finds was a cardboard box that was used as a packaging for tea that was sold by Levchuk's New Era products. This box in particular was a packaging of Slending Herd's herbal tea that was said to help people to lose extra weight. Today, the language that was used on the packaging to describe the tea can be viewed as offensive. This shows that the language used in advertising products and language in general evolved and changed as time has passed. One of the other examples described in the pamphlet is the neurotonic tea. It could be used to restore the nerves, help boost confidence in oneself, and get rid of unpleasant dreams. Towards the end of the pamphlet, there is a Q&A section for customers to familiarize themselves with the tea products and possibly find an answer to some of the questions that they might have had about the tea products.
Although we're preparing for Easter, I wanted to show you these colorful Christmas posters. The first is titled Angelic Choirs, and the second, Christmas in Lviv. Rіздво is the celebration of Jesus' birth. Ukrainian Christmas celebrations are usually held in January. However, Ukraine now recognizes December 25th as an additional Christmas date. Some churches in Canada have followed suit. Regardless of the date of celebration, a 12-course meal is held on Christmas Eve. You won't find any meat or dairy at the dinner table, but it's not missed when you have delicious foods like borscht, holubtsi, and various fishes. There are many important dates and traditions in Ukraine that have been maintained in the Ukrainian Canadian diaspora. Working with these posters and seeing how these events have continued and evolved over the decades is a testament to the commitment of this community. Barabolia was a children's album focused on teaching Ukrainian words. I've included this poster today because it's one of the few events in our catalog that I've personally attended. The songs teach the alphabet, days of the week, and so on. The Barabolia event was sponsored by Carpathia Credit Union. Early Ukrainian settlers came to Canada with very little wealth or financial knowledge. They created credit unions to support their community. The influx of post-war settlers allowed credit unions to grow and thrive. Credit unions helped provide mortgages to families who would not have qualified at a traditional bank. I was personally able to benefit from Carpathia as I had a fat cat account, a children's account that would award me $5 on my birthday. Carpathia Credit Union continues to grow and remains an important institution in our community. We hope you found these posters as interesting as we have. Keep your eyes on our social media. Along with other items in the Oseredok collection, you'll occasionally see some of these posters popping up.
Thank you for your interest in the collection, and thank you for watching.